Okay, it is time to get started on 6.02, make a trail of ants. You'll make many copies of an ant or other object and then line them up along a path to create visual movement. First of all, open up Inkscape. Voila! There it is. It's open. All right, first thing we're going to do, name it. File, save as. Find your Digital Arts 2 folder that you've created, and let's go ahead and call this one. Let's see, this is gonna be 6 ants. There we go. And you're going to name it first name, last name, ants. Okay, always start your file names with your first and last name and then the subject of the work. This is an Inkscape SVG file. Save. Notice it saves the name of your file at the top of your page. The next thing you want to do is grab your rectangle tool and you are going to draw a red rectangle. Notice mine's not red. That's okay. All I have to do is click at the bottom on the palette and it will change it to red. But uh-oh, look. I can tell that my transparency, my opacity is at 61%. Sweetness, I can change it right here. Watch. I just increased it to 100. But it still looks pink. Something's not right. So let's take a look at the fill and stroke box. You can find your fill and stroke box under Object, Fill and Stroke, just in case you forgot. And look at this setting here. This is not at 100%, so let's bring that all the way up. Now I have red. I don't need a stroke on it, so I'm going to go ahead and click the X to get rid of the stroke. And then I'll just grab this to make sure that it is going to fit all the way on my canvas. There we go. Perfect. And I'm saving constantly. Oh, but hey, as I read the lesson, guess what it wants me to do? I'm going to select my rectangle. It wants me to actually drag my opacity down to about 50%. So, oh well. Anyway, there we go. And it says the reason why is it wants us to be able to see the page borders. So I guess the opacity thing is going to work for us on this lesson. If you're not already seeing the entire page, you can go View, Zoom, and click on Page. The shortcut is 5. And if you just click 5, it'll automatically make it so that it's the right size. Okay, let's find our layers. So go to Layer, Layers, and we're going to name this Background. So rename it Background, hit enter to keep the name and lock this layer. And we're going to create a new layer, and this one is going to be called Motion Guides. Motion Guides. Hit enter. And let's create one more layer and call this one Objects. Objects. Hit enter. So the top-down view is the name for when you look at something from directly above, also known as bird's eye view. This project includes instructions on how to draw the top-down view of an ant. You'll use this ant to create clones that you'll place along a path. In this project, you'll draw a simple, non-realistic version of an ant. First, you'll draw the thin thorax of the ant as an oval. The thorax is the middle part of an ant's body. Then you'll draw the ant's head as a circle. Then you'll draw the ant's abdomen as a circle. Then, from out of the thorax, you'll draw the ant's 6 legs. Ant's legs have a single joint. Finally, you'll draw the ant's 2 antennae. Ant antennae have a single joint. If you'd rather not draw an ant, you'll learn about some other things you could draw next. If you're feeling creative, there are many other things you could draw instead of an ant. But what you draw needs to be drawn in the top-down view because the steps in this lesson are written with the top-down view in mind. Here are some examples of things you could draw that would work well with this project. cars, trucks, fish, ducks, airplanes, spaceships, ladybugs, beetles, or anything else that has a distinctive shape when looking at it from above. All right, so we're going to use the ellipse tool to draw an ant that looks something like this. If you'd like to draw a different object, please do. Okay, so we want to be in the objects layer. I'm going to lock the motion guides layer. Whenever I'm not working in other layers, I like to lock them because sometimes it just bounces your work into a different layer. We don't like it when that happens, right? Okay, so the other thing that's going to happen here is because of the fact that we've got this opaque color chosen, the next time we go to use a tool, it's going to paint with that. And you'll notice I can make a circle and it's not going to be very visible. But let me go ahead and I'll just do that. So here's the abdomen, right? It says it wants it to be a tall oval, and you're going to your object fill and stroke box, and you're going to change your fill to black. You can do it here, or you can just click at the very bottom, but your opacity, remember we decreased it, needs to be brought all the way back up to 100%. You could also increase your opacity down here at the bottom as well. So I have chosen not to use a stroke. If you did have a stroke, you'd probably want to make it black as well. And now that it's set to black, I can use that to make a circle for the head. Remember, it says it wants you to do a circle. So how do you control the shape so that it makes a circle? You hold down Control as you draw, and it will automatically kind of maintain those proportions. Yes, it can get a different proportion, like 1 to 2, but we're looking for that circular shape. So make a head, and then you can move that where you need to. Yeah, you can try. I have to click save. There we go. All right, so you've got your head on your ant, and now if I wanted to, I could just Control Copy and Control Paste that and move that right down for the abdomen down here, and I could just use my selection tool to enlarge it, but I have to hold down Control so that it's still a circle. So that's another way that you could do it. You also have those little arrows. You can arrow left to right or up and down with it. And if you hold down Shift when you arrow, you notice that Shift makes it so that it bounces a little more rapidly, larger distance. So there's my ant. Isn't that cute? All right, let's go ahead and grab a hold of the Bezier tool and do some legs, okay? So legs are going to come out of the thorax here. You're just going to click, 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 and hit enter when you're done drawing, and do another enter, and one more enter. If you are satisfied with how your legs are looking, awesome. Whoops, sorry about that. Meant to hit save. If you are needing to make any edits on any of your legs, you can select the leg that you want to edit and grab your node tool, and you can get some funky looking legs going on there. Nice, that was fun. I'm gonna do that again. Give that more of an Alice in Wonderland look. Okay. Don't have too much fun, guys. This is school. Remember to press save if your computer is not functioning properly. All right, now we're going to select all of these here legs. I can do that. I might be able to do that by just going like this. I don't know. Nope, that's not going to get them all. I'm just going to have to click them one at a time and hold down Shift. So 1, 2, 3. Gets them all selected. And now I'm going to hold down Control C to copy, or edit, copy. And now Control V, or edit, paste. And that didn't work for me. And it has a lot to do with me making this video, so I'm going to give it a try one more time. Once I select them all, I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to hit Control C for copy. I'll hit save again, and now I'll hit Control V for paste. There, now it works. I just have to hit save between every little step. Okay? All right, now we want to flip those horizontally, so that would be flip selected objects horizontally, right there. Sweet. Save. And then let's see if I can just grab and move these ant legs over. Yee. We'll see. You guys probably won't have too much of an issue with it since you're not making a video, but I can see that. There we go. It's giving me a run for my money. Cute. Okay, so they're on there. You can use your arrows to get them looking identical to the ones on the other side in the right place. That looks awesome. All right, let's go ahead and select all of the legs. I'm going to just click and go like that. Did you see how I did that? Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I'll do it again. Watch. You're just, when you have your selection tool, everything that you want to select at one time, just draw a box so that it encircles all of it. Of course, it's got my little abdomen here. I'm going to hold down Control and see if that'll help get, nope. That didn't work. Oh well, let's see how it works. So I'm going over to stroke style, and my goal here is just to increase the stroke. It's not affecting my thorax here because I don't have a stroke on my thorax. So get those ant legs nice and thick, how you like them. Okay, and now let's go ahead and do the antenna. So grabbing that Bezier tool again. Okay, and how does an ant antenna look? Something like that. I'm gonna hit Control Z and try up there and hit Enter. Loving it. Control C for copy. Control V for paste. And I'm gonna flip it if it'll let me. There we go. And then I'm gonna move it up. Hopefully. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing. Hit Control Z. That'll happen sometimes. I gotta get a hold of that little antenna back there. Let's see if I can get it. There it is. Let's see if I can move it. Nope, it just doesn't even want to, it just doesn't want to work with me. It's not liking me. Okay. There we go. Got it. Nice. So just stick that on there and then move this little dude back. If you had a similar situation like me. Perfect. So I think my one antenna might be not even touching my ant, so I need to move it just a little bit over. There we go. Okay, let's select the antenna. Should have done this before I copied it, but let's use the node tool and let's like fix it up a little bit so it looks a little more rounded. Okay, I'm thinking I don't really need that, but oh well, I'm just gonna go with that. And then I'll come over here and adjust this one a little bit. Yeah, okay, let's click off of it. You like it? It's all right. I think I like this antenna over here better, so I'm going to just delete that one. And I'm gonna copy the one on the right that I do like. And I'm gonna flip it. Oh, I didn't paste it yet. Oh well, I'll go ahead and paste it like that. And then I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna flip it again. Let's see. There, so it's back where it was. Now I've got to try to get this little antenna that I have down here again. I don't know why it wants to paste it down there. Oh, please move where I want you to move for me, please. Nope. Alright. Yeah, it's challenging using this program while making a video. Perfect. That worked nicely. And let's see if I can get that to move back. Perfect. Nice. Okay, I'm pleased as peaches. Let's just go with that. Although, of course, you know, being the perfectionist that I am, I can't have that off center. There we go. The stroke to path command converts a stroke drawn by the pencil or Bezier tools to a path. When a stroke is given a fill color, it fills in the empty space between the drawn lines. For example, if you added a fill color to an ant leg, it would color the space between the joints of the leg. When a path is given a fill color, it fills the inside of the path line with color, changing the color of the line. If you drew an ant, you'll convert the stroke lines used to draw the legs and antennae to paths. Later, you'll group all of the parts of the ant together, and this way, you'll be able to change the ant's color all at once. If you drew something other than an ant, you'll convert the stroke lines of anything you drew with a pencil or Bezier tools so that you can change the color of your object all at once. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is select all of the lines that we drew with the Bezier tool. So the antennae, and let's do that by holding down Shift and just click on each of them. Perfect. I'll hit save to free my RAM. Now at the path menu at the top, click stroke to path. And I'm going to click save. Okay, we can make sure that this worked by picking a different color. So I'm going to go ahead and try purple. And yep, it worked. They all just turned to purple. Perfect. And I'm just going to hit Control-Z to bring them back to black. And now we want to select everything because we're going to group it all together so it's one object. So like the abdomen's not moving around when I don't want it to do that. You can do that by just hitting Control-A, and that will select everything. Or select all. You could also do Edit, Select All. Or you can grab your selection tool and draw a rectangle around everything, and that will select everything. I'm going to save really quick and then go to Object, Group. And now it's one object. Do remember that you can ungroup your objects if you decide you want to go back and make changes to the individual parts later, and then you can group them back together again. Okay, and so this would be a good time to resize the ant. Remember, if you want to maintain the proportion, you have to hold down Control while you size it. So we're going to try to fit a bunch of these little buggers on the page. And I think this is a perfect example of me needing to ungroup really quick. So I'm going to Object, Ungroup, because I'm thinking that my antennae are a little too thin. I can't see them when they're smaller. So I'm going to hold down Shift, get my antenna a little bit larger. Oh, you know what? I have to go to Path. I messed up. I'm going to have to just hit Control-Z a couple times. Control-Z. Let's do this. Control-Z, 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 Control-Z. Okay, so I hit Control-Z and I got back to before I had done my path, stroke to path command, and I just wanted to make my antenna a little larger. So hitting Shift and increasing the stroke on those. I want to be able to see them when I make this ant smaller. Perfect. So this is how I can select them all. I can just grab that tool and go like this, and that selects everything, and then go to Object, Group. Perfect. Now I can hold down Control and I can size this down, and yay, now I can see the antennae as well. The motion guidelines are two lines that will curve and connect at one corner of your drawing. You'll use these motion guidelines to rotate and position copies of your object along the line so that they're all following the general direction of the motion guidelines. You'll draw two motion guidelines next. All right, so let's go to our layers, and I'm gonna lock, oh, I don't know if I wanna, yeah, I'm just gonna lock the objects line right now since I'm gonna be working in the motion guides layer. So I always like to make sure I'm working in the right place. And I'm gonna hit 5, and that'll bring my art back to the center of my window. And I'm going to use the Bezier tool now to draw a curved line that's going to start at the bottom. Oops, wrong tool. It's going to start here at the bottom, and it's going to go up to the top. So I'm just going to, yeah, I'm going to hit Control Z or Escape if you have to start over. Click at the bottom. And click at the top. Yeah, when I'm making a video, sometimes not so easy making it work. Let's try it again. Guess what? And I'm not really sure how I didn't notice this. My motion guides layer is locked. That's why nothing's happening. This will happen to you occasionally in your life, and you'll be like, why isn't it doing anything? Well, just always check to make sure. Okay, so you'll notice that I can click and hold it and drag it, and it'll make this curve for me. I can't really see very well, and then hit enter when you're done. That's another way to do it, or you can just click on the 2 points and then grab your nodes tool, and you can click and drag your handles. But your goal is to just make a little line that your ants are going to be marching along. And this is just a guide, so we're not going to actually see this line in our final image. But you can imagine, like, ding, 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 a little row of ants marching along, right? Okay, so when you're done with that, just click off of it. And we're going to do it again from the bottom right corner, or you can go from the top to the bottom. I think I'll go from the top down to the bottom. So once I've clicked down there, I get those, I can just hold it. Instead of just clicking, I can hold it and just wriggle it around a little bit and try to get a curve out of it. You know, it's not really working that great, but it gives me some handle. Then when you're done, hit enter to make that the end point. And I can click on this and get my nodes tool actually. And grab that, just click on that node, and then it'll give me the handle. And I can just, woo, curve it how I want it, move the node. Okay, so I've got my 2 little paths that I've got my ants are going to be marching along. And it's possible that this path right here, that I might need to change it just a smidgen. That's nice. Perfect. You can just use your selection tool and click off of it when you're done. Okay, you don't have to, but you can get real fancy here, and you can select your 2 guides by holding down Shift and selecting them. And we can go to the object fill in stroke box if we'd like to, and increase the width of those guides so we can see them a little better. And we could change the color to something, whoops, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. You know what I did? I hit fill instead. Because remember, when you're dealing with strokes, you can't just click a color down here because that does fill, right? When you're dealing with strokes, you select them and you'll have to hold down Shift. If you're using the palette down here, Shift changes the color of a stroke. Shift. All right, hopefully we got that. Oh, you could have so much fun with this. You could change these to dashed lines too. Oh, how fun. An ant by itself looks static, but an arrangement of ants following a path has the potential to create visual movement. In this lesson, you'll arrange ants or a different set of objects that you drew between the motion guidelines. Before you continue, take a few minutes to consider what you've learned about movement and rhythm and how you might want to apply that to your project. Here are some examples of different ways of arranging the objects on the page and the movement and rhythm effects they might create. Okay, so now we're going to clone the ant. All right, so click off of those guides, save, and select your ant. Do you remember how to do this? Edit, clone, create tiled clones. Make sure that says simple translation. And then today we're going to change rows to 10 and columns to 4 and hit create. All right. There those little puppies are. And you got 40 of them because we've got 10 times 4. 10 rows, 4 columns. Let's go ahead and close out the created tiles clones dialog box. Okay, and you've got this first ant that you were cloning selected. Hold down shift and move your arrow key up and over to the left a couple of times and get that ant out of the way. I'm hoping mine will work. There we go, holding down shift. There we go, moving that bugger out of the way. Woo! Perfect. Okay, and we can just confirm that this is your original object. If we click on it again and get the rotation handles, if we rotate it, all of the other objects will rotate with it. Okay, but you'll notice that that didn't happen. So I'm going to click on the one right underneath it, and this time, when I rotate it, there we go. So this one's the original. So let's get that original and move it out of the way. I'm just going to hold down my shift and move that little bugger right off the canvas for now. All right, well, we want to select all of these ants, and I can't do that because I can't get them all on the whole page, so I'm going to have to zoom out. I'm clicking my zoom tool and holding down, I think, shift and zooming out a little bit so that I can see them all. There we go. Now I can. And I need to get them all selected. So I'm going to click save, grab my selection tool, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle around all of the ants, and notice that they're all selected at this time. The lines and the rectangle are not selected because I didn't draw the rectangle all the way around those shapes. I only fully had a rectangle around all of these ants. Now, I was just thinking, you know, I haven't even checked to make sure that I'm in the right layer, but thank goodness I am. I notice I am in the objects layer, and you know what? I'm going into my motion guide layer, and I'm locking that buddy up, okay? Getting back over here and making sure that I'm working in the right layer. Thank goodness I am. Okay, and so now that I've got them all selected, I'm just going to grab and move them. Hopefully. And I'm thinking I don't want this one moved because I moved it too far away from my group. I could get him over with my group and that'll be helpful. Let's see. Oops. Get him back down there with those guys. Okay, now I'm gonna select them all. And I am going to move the group right over onto the page, but I think I'm going to have to make my ants a little bit smaller, so I'm going to hold down control to maintain their proportions and then move them. Oops, got to go like that to select them all. Okay, there. Now they're all on the page. Woohoo! Okay, I'm going to zoom back in just by hitting 5, and that's going to bring me full page again. And you just want to click on each of these guys individually so that they are in between the guides, and you can rotate them. Which I'm going to have a hard time doing this with making a video. It doesn't like doing rotate. Okay, so I can get him going. And maybe I want to make him larger, since when something is closer to the viewer's eye, hold down control, it's larger, right? And as it gets further away, it's going to get smaller. So I want to make my ant here a little larger, which I'll do for all of them. And then I'm just going to go ahead and grab each of these guys and move them and hold down control, make them larger, rotate them. And they're all going to basically essentially be fitting in between those guides and just walking along in between the guides like they're following a breadcrumb trail. Okay, I just had a situation where my ant is wanting to snap. Remember, Shift 5 will prevent snapping. Shift 5 prevents snapping. So I can put that ant where I want it. If you ever feel that snap, what do you hit? Shift 5. That's right. Hold down control to maintain your proportions, people. Okay. Honestly, if I weren't making a video and I could just click on everything like you can at home, I would do a way better job of this. But I am very limited. Every little thing I do, I have to click save. If I weren't making a video, I'd be in your shoes. Just plugging along, moving everything, resizing it, rotating it without any problems. Okay, so like if you were wanting to change the colors of individual objects, we're going to have to, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, select all of your ants. So just grab your selection tool and select all of those, and you're going to go edit, clone, unlink, clone, and that's going to allow you now to go in if you want to like change the color of one of your ants to purple. You can do that now. So you can make changes to individual, and really not liking how that works. I'm having to look at my fill and stroke box and see what's going on. Fill and stroke. Select your object that you're looking at. Otherwise, it doesn't know. Stroke. Make sure it says no stroke. Okay, fill. It's purple. Doesn't look as good. I'm hitting Control Z on that choice. Not liking that. Okay, so go back to your layers, and we're just going to hide the motion guides, make sure it's locked, and now they're hidden. Lovely. And I think I'll change my background to a nice green color. So like grass, I'm going to unlock it so I can do that and click on green. Well, I'll have to select the rectangle first. So let's see, select my rectangle and hit green down at the bottom. So tiring. There we go. And I need my fill and stroke up to 100% opacity if I want that green to really show up. And I could go and grab a filter too if I wanted to. Ooh, I'm not caring for that, but you can play around with filters and get a fun background. I've had somebody do a red and white checkerboard tablecloth, which was so cute. Oh, this is cute. I found a bark filter. So filters under texture, I clicked on bark, and I'm going to get my fill and stroke box, and I'm going to find a way to change that to more of like a brown bark color, which I think would be pretty cool. That's pretty. How fun. Nice. That is pretty sweet. I like that. Can't see the ants very well, but it looks good. I could decrease the opacity. This level right here does some interesting effects, or it could just bring it down a little bit. Yeah. I think it looks a lot better with 100% opacity. But anyway, it's your object, it's your project, sorry. And here was a really fun trick that I learned last time of how to crop off the edges that I don't want. You're going to grab your rectangle tool and just draw the rectangle around the edges. And then you'll go Object, Clip, Set. Okay. that didn't work this time. Oh, I know why. Sorry. It's because I have to select both. Excuse me, I'm just gonna hit Control Z. Okay. I have to draw the rectangle around it. So file, save. Okay, here's my rectangle. Okay, and then I have to use that selection tool and hold down the shift to grab the other things that are in the background, right, that I'm wanting to clip off the edges of, and then I can go to Object, Clip, Set, and it gets rid of, that's not how I wanted that to work. I will figure this out. I'm gonna hit Control Z actually. Okay, I'm locking my background. I'm hoping, I don't know if this is gonna help or not. I'm gonna go onto my object page. I'm not sure why it's cutting out my whole background, but gotta try it again. Okay, hold down shift and select both that rectangle and the object in the background. Maybe it's because it's locked. Somehow, for some reason, that time it worked. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. But there, that cut off the edge. It didn't quite cut off the edge of my ants. So maybe that's because I didn't select my ants. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to do a rectangle here. And I'm going to select, hold down shift, grab my selection tool, hold down shift, and I'm going to get those ants that are hanging off the edge of the paper, and this one over here too. I don't know, maybe it's not working because I had too many objects selected. So let me just do one at a time, and I'll go ahead and do object, clip, set. It doesn't like that when I have the ants with it, so I'm going to hit Control Z and Control Z again. I guess I'll leave those there. I'm going to file, save, delete this, and I think I'll just move these ants so that they're on the canvas and not hanging off, because otherwise that's how it's going to actually look when I export it. So I am going to go file, save one last time, file, export ping image, and make sure that it's in the right folder. Let's see here, it's in my Digital Arts 2 folder, saved as Rachel Girot Ants Ping. Perfect. And I'm going to close this box when it's completed. I have not actually exported anything yet. If you wanted to change the file location, you click export as. You wouldn't be done yet. You're not exported until you click the green check next to export, and this box disappears. There you go. Now you can submit that to the February 15th Dropbox in the live classes folder. Thank you.